Okay, so when you go into a KSL, like I said, go to KSL, go into Homes for Sale, click on the property owner type as by owner. You still have to sometimes look through it because a lot of times for some reason they'll say by owner and then you get to the bottom and there's an agent name on there or something, or it says agent owner or something like that. So you'd want to double check. But what I do is I actually went on today and I pulled up just the Roy zip code, and I pulled up everything like 10 miles from there, and there was tons of for sale by owners out there. And so it's a good source. It's a source that I always used when I was selling really heavily. I always worked with for sale by owners because number one, I knew, obviously they want to sell their house. And even though it says in there, no listing agents or no agents, that don't mean don't call them. What that means is don't try to call me and get my listing. So what you want to do anyway is just call to try to make, some kind of connection, and then try to get in to at least see the home. And then of course from there, build a relationship with them that maybe, you can end up listing their home. But you always go into it with for sale by owners. You just go into it with the thought that, if you can help them, if you can educate them a little bit so that they know a little bit more about what they need to do, teach them about all the things that are important as far as safety goes, because they don't think about things like that. So the first part of this class that I taught last week up until this one, it talks about a lot of those kind of things and what to talk about. So if you missed the class last week, that's okay. This will be on the library this week. So you'll be able to go back and you can rewatch all of that. Plus, a lot of the information I have on here that you normally would, have to write down to take notes will be pretty much on here too. So take the notes you need to, but a lot of this is on here. So you can, if you need me to send it over to you, print it out like a PDF or something so that you can have some of the slides. Just email me and let me know what you want, and then I'll send them to you. So it looks like we've got a few more people joining us. So welcome everyone. I'm glad that you guys are here. If you're missing this, we're just talking about KSL for sale by owners today. We're going to go through, and some of you may already be experienced and already know how to do this, or maybe you haven't done it for a while. Either way, hopefully, if nothing else, you get even just one or two things that help you with your business as far as the training goes. So this KSL for sale by owner that I pulled up is in Riverdale. It's been on the market 2 days. You can see that they're asking $356,500, and it has his contact information on there, and there's a picture of the house. So what I typically would do is, before I even contact people, I read through all of their comments of what it is, the remarks of what they want to talk about the home, because that will usually tell you all the things they love about their house. They may miss a few things, and that's okay, but at least you kind of have an idea of exactly what it is that, makes them feel like somebody wants their home. I love the remarks because a lot of times if you list the home, you can take the remarks and use it and then just kind of edit it or whatever you have to do. But so this is what they say: this Riverdale Rambler is officially on the market and is ready for a buyer. You'll love the spacious living area, which is perfect for large gatherings, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-car garage with new door, 2 fireplaces, fully fenced, vinyl Trex deck in the back, courtyard in the front, wet bar in the basement, plantation shutters, central air, new windows, and more. It says no listing agents, BAC 2%. With that BAC being on there, it kind of makes me wonder if it's not an agent or somebody's assisting them already, which is okay. Today we're just going to basically go off this to show you the best way to pull up a market analysis on the home and the information for it. So the property details that are showing on there, you can see them on here. It's pretty much everything they listed. Built in 78, the square footage is 2,590. They got the acreage and all of that. So even though they have that on there, I mean, it helps to be able to see what it is that maybe they've done since when you pull up the tax ID records and things like that, which I'll show you here in a minute. But where they're saying 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, you'll see that when we get to the tax information, it doesn't have that. And most of the time it's because people don't get permits. So, okay, so the first thing you want to do before you even contact this for sale by owner is you want to pull up the information, the tax data on the home, because you want to find out, first of all, who you're talking to. That guy's name was Scott. This guy's name that owns it is Gordon and Anita Williams. You don't want to assume that he's not the owner. It could be, you know, could have been in a trust. Maybe they've passed on and now he's, you know, the executor of the will or something like that. But anyway, we're going to assume that whoever Scott is, he's a part of this and he's got a, you know, listed on there for a reason. But you do want to be aware of who those owners are showing. So up here at the top, you can see where I highlighted, that's the parcel number. So I'm going to show you here in a minute how to get all this information, but I just wanted to pull this up really quick just to kind of give you an idea what to look for. This is on the MLS most of the time, but a lot of times it's not updated very often. And so I'll show you how we can also get a hold of the title company and get the same information from them, but more in depth. So the parcel of the property, there's the tax ID number, you've got the current owner's names, and then down here, you know, you can see, honestly, I don't even look at this as far as the assessed value and stuff like that because it's calculated off of different percentages. What I'm looking for is over here, I want to see the tax amount and what tax year that's based off of. The lot size over here is the acreage of the home, the year built down here, and then over here you can see number of bedrooms and bathrooms. This is what's been recorded on the property. Like I said, it's showing 1 bath and he's saying it has 3. So most likely they've either finished bathrooms or a lot of times too, if there's never been any updating done to the tax record. And when they first filed to get their building permit, the first builder, they might've just had it down as a 4-bedroom, 1 bath and it's never been updated. So it's just a good place to check. And then down here, you've got your living area. You've got 1318 square feet and the base area of 1272, which equals the 2590, which is exactly what he had on his ad. This also shows you right here, the property transaction, when it took place. The last time that one took place was in 2003 and it was a transfer. It looks like it's probably a transfer from, it says intrafamily, so I'm assuming it's probably somebody either gave it to them. It shows the seller as a Gordon Williams, and then down here it says buyer Gordon Williams. So, you know, that doesn't really mean a whole lot to you right now, but I will show you on the abstract here in a few minutes exactly what we're talking about when what we're looking for on tax ID. This is also kind of a layout of the home as it's shown on the MLS through the tax data. So the second thing I usually do is I pull off the information to get it from the MLS right away. But in the meantime, if I'm going to be working with people or meeting with them, I always pull, I call or get a hold of the title company, whoever you're working with, they will do this for you. And I ask them for a profile for the property, a plat map, and an abstract of title. They will send those over to you and I'll go through what to look at with those. Sorry, got to admit somebody here. Okay, don't mind the noise in the back. I got my dog behind me. Okay, so this is kind of hard to read, I know, but this is what I pulled, the property detail report that came across from the title company. You can see if you look at these that it's a lot more in depth as far as like the square footage is broke down better here. It gives you the total square footage. It still does say the 4-bedroom, 1 bath and all those kind of things, which is fine. You know, it's not like you can't count it. It's just something to be aware of is that if the county record is showing that there's only the 1 bathroom, there's a good possibility that when they finish the rest of those, they didn't get their permits, and that could become an issue down the road for a buyer, just so you're aware. So any questions so far as where I'm getting the information? Or what information I'm covering? Is there any questions on any of these that you guys are kind of confused about? No? Hi, Lance.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Okay, so yeah, on here then with the property detail report, this is going to be coming from the title company. Like I said, it's going to be in more depth. You're going to have more information on here. When you see down here, I don't know if you guys can see my pointer or not, but if you look down where it says property characteristics, you can see that it says the year built and then effective year built. There's a 1978, which is the actual year that the house was built. 1996 is typically when somebody has done a remodel or like got a new loan out or something and they've reevaluated. There could be several reasons that they would do that effective date. You don't necessarily have to put that on anything. I just want you to know what that means because it does ask on the MLS for an effective date built, but you don't necessarily have to put that on there. Okay, so the other thing then is the title company will send you over the plat, which is so much more legible than the one that you're going to get off the MLS. So this is nice because it shows you the frontage, it shows you the side of the property, it shows you if it's a regular size lot or if it's irregular. And then of course it has the name on there, it has the tax ID number on there, and the total square footage of the property. And you will need that when you're putting on your information on the MLS. Make sure that you're putting these measurements that it's asking for on the MLS. A lot of times agents don't do that, and honestly, I think it's really lazy. I mean, you can get it right here. Sometimes it can be kind of tricky because if it's not just basically a rectangular square property like this, if it's got sections that are kind of cut down in between and stuff, it can be hard to like put exactly what it is, but you can at least put frontage and side on there. All right. So then when you are talking with title and they give you what we call, it's called an abstract of title. The abstract of title is what you want to be looking at, especially if you're going to list a home. You want to make sure you're looking to see if there's anything on this abstract. And if you don't know how to read it, that's okay. If you're confused, call me or your broker or get a hold of the title company. They can walk you through this. The one thing you want to check on, like I said before, is you want to make sure that the owner that's listed on here is the actual owner. And then you also want to check to see if there's any liens that have been placed against the property. Sometimes they will have a notice of default if they've been late on payments and they're going into foreclosure. That would be something you'd want to know. You can also see on here if there's loans that have been taken out on the property. Obviously, this one doesn't have really a whole lot of information. Probably wasn't the greatest one to show you. I just want you to be aware that it's on here. If you ever get to that and you find that there's certain things on there that look really weird, definitely check on it and make sure and check with them. Oh, you're okay. It's okay if you're late. Not a big deal. I'm glad you showed up. Is this info? Yes, it is. This information is from the title company. And so whoever you're working with, like I work with Bonnie at First American Title, have forever. She does all of this. That's what they do. That's her job, is just to pull this up. And so I just email her with the information to the home or the land or whatever it happens to be, the property information. Yes, you can access that directly from the county. We just went over that, so sorry, I'm not going to go back, but this is information that is pretty much the same that you can get off the county records, off the MLS. And so if you missed that part on how to do that, you know, you can either get with me or you can get with your broker, have them show you. Otherwise, you can go back and watch this video as well in the library when it's done. So. Okay, so let's see. Javier's saying that Salt Lake City charges for these. Are you sure they charge for these? Or, I mean, I guess they could, but it should be just a service that they offer to you. This came from the title company. This did not come from the county, just so you know. Sorry, I'm reading his chat. So he's asking me some questions on here. But yeah, you should be able to get these from your title company. They should be able to get you copies of this kind of stuff. So, okay. Okay, so yeah. So Javier, yeah, if you're talking about the county, then yes, they probably would charge you, but I'm not getting these from the county. I'm getting these from title. Okay, so when you're looking through here, you're going to look at the date of entry. It's always going to be, well, I shouldn't say always, depending on the city or the county, I should say. The record date on there that they recorded it, sometimes they go from the very first one to now, and sometimes they go the other way. And so you need to be looking at the dates to check to make sure that you're in the right area. So on this one, it was 2015. They've got some certificates of creation. They have agreements with ConocoPhillips, probably pipeline that came through the property is what I'm assuming. There can be all kinds of things. I don't really see anything on here that would be something that would raise a real question. But like I said, sometimes if people are telling you that they only have like one mortgage, it will kind of show you, it'll show you an approximate amount that they borrowed. It doesn't usually show you the full amount. Utah's a non-disclosure state, so they don't typically on here, they don't put exactly what somebody's borrowed, but it will have an approximate amount. So if somebody had like a mortgage and then they went and got a second mortgage or a line of credit, you would see that that would show here and who it was actually, who it was assigned to. So you just want to be checking those kind of things. And so that's kind of a class for another day if you wanted to go through with title and figure out, all those things. I just want you to be aware that that's something that you need to check on. Okay, so the next section that we're going to do then is we're going to do a CMA. And I'll be really honest, I probably do this the old-fashioned way, but it still works and it still turns out just like it should. And so there's other ways that you can do it. There's other ways to create a CMA and go through the MLS and do them different ways. However, to me, they're longer. It takes a little bit more time and information to put it in and try to kind of consolidate and make it its own for each person. But the CMAs that I typically do this way always work out to be pretty right on. With this market, of course, you have to add a little bit on. But so with the CMA, I did put notes in here. And like I said, if you guys want copies of this, if you want me to send them to you, you just need to email me. Just say, send me a copy of day 2's training, PDF or whatever. I'm really happy to do that for you. I can't just do it because I never know who's signing on and who isn't and who wants them and who doesn't. So too hard for me to keep track. But this is kind of a breakdown and step-by-step that you can look at as you do this. So I am going to, I'm hoping that I can pull up for the CMA. How many of you, and you don't have to say if you don't want to, but how many of you are still kind of unclear about the MLS and how to pull up comparable properties? I'm assuming the agents that are kind of newer probably are.
Yes.
Or haven't done them for a while.
No.
So I'm going to, are you guys able to see the MLS right there?
Yeah.
On that
Yes.
screen? Okay, perfect. I didn't know if that would work or not, so good. Okay, so what we're gonna do is on this property then, what I would typically do is go into a search, and I have this, like I said, I have this printed out for you. So it's step by step, but if I wanted to go in here and pull up this home, obviously I would have to go back to the information that was on the sheets that they sent over from title or the ones that I pulled up. But I kind of have an idea now because I already did this. So if I go into search, do a quick search is what I usually go into. When you're in here doing a quick search, you always, anytime you go in to search something, I would definitely always go in and clear your criteria. Because it's gonna, in the MLS, when you come back on, you sign out and come back on, it doesn't clear it for you. So it could have information on there that would make it hard for you to come up with the numbers that you need. So what you do is on the status, when you do a CMA, you only wanna use sold. If you absolutely have to use under contracts, then you maybe could do that, but I would always use sold as a, just do. That's the way you should do it. That's how an appraiser's gonna do it. So when you go into the status, you go into sold and then drop down where it says sold date here and clear that off of there. That to me is a glitch in the MLS that they need to fix because it puts in the sold date as today. That would typically be like 2 months ago to now over here. So just make sure you clear that off or it's not gonna let you do your search like you should. And then once you clear that, go up to your number of days back and you're gonna put in 180 days. That's 6 months back. That's what an appraiser will typically go off of. If you go back too far, then it's not going to pull up what you need to make sure that it's going to appraise. We want to go by with what the appraisers are doing. The property type in this situation is a single family home. If it wasn't, then obviously you would pick condo or twin home or mobile without land. So on this one, do single family, and then the style on this home is going to be a split entry bi-level. If you're not sure what it is, the best way a lot of times to look at it is the layout of what they have on there. And if you're new at this and you're like, I don't even know what to call that, just, get a hold of me or your broker and say, I don't know what kind of house this is. What is it called? Then don't feel bad doing that, because everyone starts somewhere. On the year built, on here, I've got the notes that I will show you, but if you will go back, just kind of keep it as a 6 year to 5 year, like 5 or 6, either way. But on this situation, this is a 1978 home. So if I put in, even 4 years back, let's just say 1974 to 1984. I know that's, 5 either way, whatever. This is at least going to give you an idea how many homes are going to be out there, because you're going to probably have to narrow it down right now with as many homes that are selling. So if you're on 74 to 84, because the home is listed or built in 1978, you can see up here the results are 695, but that's because we haven't put in the area. So what I typically will do is I usually will start out with the zip code, and this zip code is 84405. You can see that I've got 14 matches up here. So we want to narrow it down to, you want to have between maybe 3 to 5 homes. At least hopefully 3, because you're going to need 3 for comparables. That's what an appraiser is going to look for. If you have a home that's really unique and different, you're probably not going to even find much. They have to do that a little bit differently, but on this home, split entry is pretty common. So this is pulling up that zip code. So now if I go over to the total square footage, the total square footage of this home is 2590. So, go 500 smaller and 500 bigger just to start out. And then if you have to expand out to 1,000 to try to find more, if you can't find it, then do that. But try to keep it as close to that home as you can. You're trying to make it match up to that house. So, so basically, I would go on here and just put 2,000 and then come over here and maybe put 3,000. Just see where we end up. Okay, so now you can see I've got 4 matches. If I'm down to only 3 or 4 matches, I don't put any more information in. I go in to see exactly what's pulling up. If you had 10 matches still, of course, then you would put in your minimum bedrooms is 3 bath or 3 bedroom. Minimum of, if it's a 3 bath home, put 2 as a minimum and let it pull up. But if I go to the view results up here, sorry, my internet's really slow today. You can see that you've got this section over here. I want to see if there's any possibility. Let's see, I'm trying to move this over. I want you guys to be able to see. You can see on here that I put the information of as far as what I'm looking at. Anyway, this will come across with it. I just want it to make sense to you as we're doing it. But if I check on all of these to look at them, check on them and then go up to the view reports and click on the CMA report that's on here. That's going to bring it up and it's going to look just like this when you're viewing it. So you can see that I've got 4 homes because there's one down here. Usually they are listed by the sold price as far as the order that they're in. Not necessarily the price that they're listed at. So you can see over here, there's these 3. If you drop down to the sold price right here, you can see 295.5, 339.9, 354, and this one is 359.9. Because this one's so much lower, you can see it was on the market 54 days. Since I already have the other 3 that I can compare to, especially if I'm going to look at square footage and things like that, I'm going to remove that because I don't want it to pull my comps down. It could have been, who knows, it could have been just totally trashed and somebody had to fix it up. If it sat that long, I'm going to assume there was an issue with the house. So when we're here, then you've got the 3 homes. You can see what they were listed for here. So list price, sold price, Continuous days on the market means how long was it on the market continuously before it went under contract and sold, or, you know, under contract. The sale date is here. So you can see that this one is recent. That is October 9th, July 31st, and June 30th. So this one's still on there, but it's going to drop off here in a couple months because they'll only, we don't want to keep anything on there longer than 6 months. So when you're in here, there's a couple things you can do. You can go into the address and click on it. You can put the property subject, property address in there. You can actually go up to more actions as well. And you can upload the subject property image here. So if you had a picture of the home and you wanted to put it in there off your computer, you can load it there. I would not adjust the factors ever. I just leave that alone. Any questions so far? Is this just too much information at once?
No, it's perfect.
Okay, great. And like I said, it's all broken down. I've got it written down. So on here, I'm going through the steps of exactly what I have printed out on here for you. So if you are going through later and you wanted a cheat sheet, this is a perfect thing to print off. Okay, so the bedrooms then, since this is saying that it's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, it's not specifying the 3 baths is full or full baths or 3/4 or half, which makes a big difference. It makes a difference. And if you're not aware, so a full bath has to have a tub and shower. So if it's a bathtub with a shower, that's a full bath. If it's a separate bathtub and a shower separate, that's a full bath. If it's just a shower, then it's 3/4. And if it's just a toilet and sink, basically it's a half bath. So that's how those break down. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 4 bedrooms, and I'm just going to assume they're all 3 full baths. In this market right now, we can probably do that because it's not going to make a whole lot of difference. So when you're putting these in here, just something to keep in mind, if you are entering the bedrooms and bathrooms, all the information in this left column here, enter it either by clicking or by putting in the number and then tabbing twice to get to the next section. If you mess with these numbers here on the right, you're going to throw everything off. So try not to mess with those. If you do, you're going to have to start over if you don't know how to change them or what to change them to. So a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. I'm going to click down now. There's 2 levels, and we know that one of them is the basement. So the basement square footage was listed on here, and the top was listed on here as far as the information from title. So I'm going to go, I got to go back here just a minute really quick. I didn't memorize that part. Okay, so this one is saying that it's 13, it's kind of small, 1318 right here, 1318 and 1272 for the bottom. So we're going to put in the one level as 1318. And then we're going to click down here. We're going to put in 1272 as the basement. I'm going to assume, because he said that it's got 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and it's got like a wet bar and a whole bunch of things in the basement, I'm just going to assume it's about 90% finished until I've seen the home. Okay, the other thing that is a default that you'll have to go in and change every single time is the year built. The year built's always going to put in the when you do your range of like 5 years before and after, usually you'll put in the very first number that you're putting in when you're doing your search. So just delete that and then correct it and put in the right year built. It's got a 2-car garage, and the acreage, again, is found on that same page, and it was 0.19. So we're going to put that in there. So you can see that based off of the information that I've put in here, that the total at the bottom, adjusted total, is 345,993. He was asking 250, let's see, let me go back here really quick, 256.5. Of course, we know in this market that, things are kind of weird anyway, and it could possibly go for that if somebody wanted to pay extra for it. The problem is getting it to appraise. So the only thing that this does not keep, oh, sorry, I'm trying to go back here, let you guys see this. This number is an adjusted total, and that's just based off that information. So if the home is really upgraded and has a lot of extra things that the appraiser would add in for, then it's gonna bring those numbers up. But just a base price to start out at, 345.9. Typically at this market, we round up about 5,000 off of that. Just because it just seems like by the time the appraiser adds on all the extras, it will come in a little higher. So just because this a total right here only comes in at 345.9 doesn't mean that that's how the house will appraise for. The appraiser is going to make adjustments for different things, vinyl fencing, upgraded countertops and cabinets and all those kind of things. But this is just kind of a baseline to start with. Any questions as far as the entering this information right now?
No.
Nope. Lance, you're the only one talking to me.
Oh,
Nope.
Great job.
Good. Okay. All right. So I don't want to overwhelm you with too much information, but so I don't know if I should even explain what these right numbers mean and what they are. You don't have to remember this, but I just kind of want, if somebody ever asks you the question and says, well, how do you come up with that? Like, this house here, this is a 5-bedroom. Yeah, this is a 4-bedroom. If you look at the bedrooms and you see where it says 4 on our subject property and next to it there's a 5-bedroom, what they're going to do, what the system does is it takes this column and it says, let's make every one of these houses match this home, the subject property. To do that with a 5-bedroom, every bedroom, as you see in this right column, is worth $1,000. That's pretty much what they're given, is $1,000 credit. Since this home has 5 bedrooms and not 4, it takes away 1,000 to make it match and be a 4-bedroom. Same thing with a full bath. Since I have 3 bedrooms, or I'm sorry, 3 full baths in here, and this is only 2. People, if they ask you, would it help us to get more money out of the house if we put another bathroom in? This is pretty much what the appraiser gives them a credit for. For a full bath, it's about $5,000. If you're putting in a bathroom by yourself and you know how to do it and you can save a ton of money, it would probably be worth it. If they're just going to put it in, pay somebody, they're probably not going to get that money back out of that house, but it will make the house more appealing to somebody else that's comparing it to another home. So the 4 bedrooms, you can see it adjusted over here 1,000, and these ones match, so it doesn't do anything. A 3-bath, again, there you got 2 full baths, so it's adding 5,000 to make this a 3-bedroom, and it's adding 10,000 to this one because it's only 1 bath to make it equal the same as a 3-bedroom or a 3-bathroom. Sorry, I'm on the wrong thing here. I know it's kind of confusing, but I just want you to understand how that works, because people do ask sometimes, well, how do you figure, what am I going to get if I finish another bedroom? You're probably going to get about $1,000 more as far as the appraiser's concerned. But it will make the house sell probably better, because there are, a lot of people in Utah like homes with lots of bedrooms. So anyway, you can see down here the 2590s total square footage. If you look across here, it's the bigger home of all 3 of these. So I feel comfortable using these comps, because if it was quite a bit less or it was way off from these, then I would be a little bit worried. But where it's the bigger home, we know that it's going to be worth a little bit more. Square footage, price per square footage, I honestly don't even look at that, because it's depending on where it's at, where the market's at, what it's doing. I honestly have never looked at that. I just don't. Basically what it comes down to is a split entry usually is worth less per square footage as far as what they pay for it versus a rambler. You get more money, get more home, as far as a rambler goes, because there's bigger, it's a bigger roof. It's got, there's so many factors that go into that. The year built, we got 78. So you can see there's that one that's 78. This one's a little newer, 1984. This one's a little newer. It's making adjustments for the year. 2-car garage, they all have a 2-car garage, so it stays the same. If you have a home that has like an outbuilding, and you're not really sure like how to count for that, just give it $5,000 for each spot they can park in. That will give you a pretty good idea where they're at. So if you've got a great big garage outside and they've got like, enough room, you could park 4 cars in it, and you're trying to come up with a value so that they get that in there, just just figure out, just put it in as a 4-car garage. If they got 2-car garage on the house and a big shop outside with 4 more spots, for put in a 6-car garage just to get the numbers where they need to be. It's not going to be exact, but it'll definitely get you up there. The acreage, you're going to put it in 0.19, and it's going to adjust the same way. You can see that this third one over here is a bigger lot, and so it's making an adjustment to that. These are pretty close, right in the middle. So I want you to see if I was to change this to a 6-car garage. See, it jumps up. The difference is just jumping up that $5,000 for each one. So anyway, that's where you come up with those numbers. Like I said, you wouldn't go right off of that, especially right now in this market. We would want to definitely bump it up. We can always go down. We just can't go. We can't go back up. It doesn't look good to do that. A lot of times when you're talking to sellers, like this guy, we know what he thinks his house is worth because he listed on for sale, for sale by owner on KSL. So that's what he expects to get out of that house. But if you're talking to somebody that's thinking about selling and they don't have a clue, ask them, what do you think? Do you have neighbors that have sold? What did they end up getting for them? Things like that. So I wanted to show you that just so that you're aware. So if you're ever just kind of sitting around and you're not really sure how to do this, I really highly suggest that you either do a for sale by owner that you can pull up, or if you own a home, do one on your own home and do it 2 or 3 times to make sure that you're getting it right. It's good practice. So you don't have to have a listing in order to do this. I really recommend that you don't wait until that point to learn how to do this. So it's a good time to pull it up on your family's homes or whatever you got to do. Hey, you know what? Find your families on, look up their names on the county site from the MLS. Again, you go to search and you go to tax data search. If you want to find the tax information, you can get this for most all the counties, and then you can go by owner name. You can put in the house number, street name. It's a good way to pull it. It doesn't always give you the most accurate information, but at least it gives you the tax ID number. Typically will give you the owner's name unless it's transferred ownership in like the last month or 2 or something. But anyway, so if you don't have time to get a hold of the title company and you're going to work with somebody, definitely go on here and search it. Once you have this here, just so you know, and I have this in the notes as well. If you wanted to print this out so that you can show it to your clients, you can go to create CMA packet. And over here, you can see, you can choose cover sheets, medium, comp, detail. There's a whole bunch of different things you can look at. And what I would say is check them, go through it and see what you like and what works for you and what doesn't, don't use it. You can also do templates that they have that you can upload in here for your cover sheet. So if you wanted to do a default template and say you wanted to put that on there as the front page, it will put all your information down here. You'll just need to change the client name and the address and all those kind of things. It's kind of nice because it's already made up for you. If you didn't want that, don't use it. The one that I always pull up that looks just like the report I just showed you is the comparison report. That's the report that will look exactly like what I just had. So if I go there and print that, sorry, it's slow today.
I have a question when I get a chance.
Yeah, go ahead, anytime.
Well, so going back to the beginning of this, is there an option to do commercial instead of residential at the same quick search option, or is there?
I believe there is. If you go in here and do a tax data search, I know that I have seen in here, this is just tax data. So it might be trickier to find it is all. Let me pull up.
Well, to do a CMA, to start a CMA, right?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, you can try to do a CNA. The problem with commercial is it really depends on what's involved. It's a whole separate animal.
So there's not just like an apartment or some sort of commercial option instead of residential to start your CMA.
Well, you could go in here and do a quick search. Over here, I'm trying to think, there's
so yeah.
unit.
Yeah, so just to be specific, it would be just a multi-unit, like
Yeah. Yeah. So you go to multi-unit and do quick and go here. Yeah, and you can put your information and everything in. Yeah, you could try to do it that way if it's just a building or something and you're trying to compare it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what. Thank
Is that
you.
what you meant? Okay. Yeah, other
Yep.
than that, yeah, commercial's just tough because sometimes people are selling, the property. They're selling the business. Sometimes they're
It could
selling
be
the
all
unit.
things, yeah.
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 So, but yeah, you could go in and do that. And if nothing else, even if you can't do like a real market analysis to break it down like we just did, it gives you an idea of what's been selling in the past 6 months or year that you can look at that's comparable, and you could do it with surrounding cities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that goes back to, I've been working on a gentleman for years and years that he's getting ready to sell a sixplex, and
Nice.
he certainly does not want to use agents or anything like that, but he's done seller financing on a building in the past, and he just recently had someone basically just tell him he can't do another seller financing deal with him. And so he almost expressed interest that, maybe he's going to come around. I don't know. Well,
Sometimes they do.
that's the first time in about 5 years that he's even hinted at potentially not doing seller financing. And so I want to do a comp, and we did one for him a while back. I think Dion at Ladybug did one for him, but that was maybe 5 months ago, 6 months ago. So maybe things have changed a little bit. Okay.
Yeah. There is a lot. I mean, it seems like to me there are quite a few investors, people that own multiple, properties and stuff like that, that have rental properties. It seems like they're starting to take advantage of selling now that the prices are up and rents are really high and stuff. So yeah, I think that it's definitely it's a good route to go down if you wanted to start getting into something like that. But yeah, same thing, just practice. You just got to go in and practice, and then if you can't figure it out, it's always good to ask long before than it is to ask when you're in the middle of it sitting with somebody.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
So anyway, so all of the information that I just gave you as far as to how to go in here to get all the information and pull it up, like I said, is in this PDF, and I can send it to you guys. I don't like giving more information than you can, keep up with. And I know that when you don't do it all the time, it's kind of overwhelming. But at least this kind of gives you an idea of the steps and where to start. So once you were to get this done, I know I hate to push it out a week every time, but our next training that we go into would be that we will do it. I'll show you how to do a net sheet for these properties for people, so that when you meet with them, you're ready for that. But most of all, just getting the experience and trying to practice is going to make a big difference, so that when you go out, you're more familiar with it. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. Is there any questions I can answer at this time as far as market analysis or anything? Just, open question answer session. No? Bruce, I know you're on there and you're not talking. He's like, I'm not going to either.
I don't know who else is on the phone or on the line. I mean,
as far as people that are on here.
Yeah, is there several or?
Yeah, we got Bruce, we've got you, we've got Cherie, we've got Dan, Erica, Javier, and Carrie Henderson.
Cherie, what did your dad's house comp at or CMA at? What you listed for?
His CMA came at 325.
Oh, that's what you did.
Yeah, but we dropped it to 320, and we're dropping it down to 315 today.
Yeah. It's just, did Cindy help you with that CMA, or had you already done something? Okay.
No, she helped me. Yeah, I went into the office and she helped me.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first few times, it just takes practice. And so,
Yeah.
when you first start, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to go. And so,
Yeah.
that's why I kind of put this one together, was because these are the things that it seems like to me that brokers don't sit down and really show people how to do it. They talk about it and say, do this, do this, do this. That's why I like to print it out, even though it takes up a little more time for me to do that, but at least you have that. And so if somebody's not available or you want to try it on your own, then you've kind of got a sheet in front of you to direct you through it. But that doesn't mean you can't call. You guys are always welcome to give me a call, ask questions, whatever you need. That's what we're here for. So for sell by owners, keep in mind, everybody gets kind of afraid because nobody wants to go out and try to get listings. They don't want to be told no. I would think of it for sell by owner as just an option for any buyers you might have. Don't think of it as listing their home. So if you make an appointment with them and they say to you, first thing they're going to say is, we're not listing our house. We don't want an agent. Just say, oh, that's okay. That's not what I'm calling you for. I'd like to at least come tour your home. I want to take a look at it to see, I've got a lot of buyers in our office that we're working with right now. And we do. Several agents in our office have lots of buyers. So, if you go out and you find a home and you're talking to one of the agents and you know what they're looking for and you go find it for them, say, hey, how about a finder's fee? Whoops, I don't even know what that is on there. How about a finder's fee? If I get this for sale by owner to work with your buyer and they end up getting under contract, will you give me 10%, 20%, give me, whatever. You may not have the buyer, but our office certainly does. So don't be afraid to use that as, hey, you know what, we are looking because we do have a lot of buyers that are wanting homes and we can't find them. So use it as an opportunity to meet them, go to their home, possibly walk through the house. Of course, always go COVID prepared. Don't walk in unless they ask you to, and don't, make sure you have a mask and all those things that you need to be doing. But just because we're kind of on a lockdown and not being able to do that kind of stuff as much as we'd like to, doesn't mean people aren't going to let you in. That's where I think agents are going to fail right now, is they're just kind of standing back waiting to see what's going to happen. And the ones that aren't doing that are the ones that are still doing a lot of business and moving forward. So let's see, Javier has a question. He says, I have found big discrepancies between the CMA and the actual appraisal value of the property. How can I adjust the criteria values in order to make the CMA more accurate? Are you finding discrepancies as far as your CMAs are coming in lower or higher? Sorry, I gotta wait. He's chatting. You guys can open up the chat room too if you're wondering what we're talking about here.
I found on many occasions that the actual appraisal value of the property comes way higher than the
higher. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I understand that I can adjust the criteria. For instance, instead of $1,000 for each bedroom, I could put 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, whatever. But how can I do it in the right way? Because I don't know how to adjust that. What I found is, one, the CMA is kind of conservative, yeah, but it's not accurate. Normally in the past, I have found that the CMA is like 98, 97% accurate. Now I found much more big difference between what the appraisal value comes up with and the CMA. So my question is, how can I adjust that if possible?
Okay, so
every area is different. So
it is different. One thing I wanted to go back and show you guys really quick that will kind of answer that question, I think, a little bit better is I saved these searches. So when I go in here, and if you're not sure how this works, if you go back, I don't know what these red things are on the screen. Somehow I did that. I don't even know how I did that. But if you're into a property searches and say you've been talking to somebody, I think that, sorry, higher like Cindy suggested, yeah. what, if you can't find where you were at or you didn't save it, if you go into these recent property searches over here down at the bottom on the main page, you can click on that and it'll take you back. So, you know, sometimes I'll have somebody say, oh, what about this or what about that? I don't know. Isn't that the weirdest thing that those things are on there? How weird, huh? Okay, so so this was the search that I had done. So when I go in here, if I go back into this CMA report, it should pull up. Oh, I didn't do it. I save them. So if I go into CMAs, yeah, right here, the CMA. If you save it, you can also go under your saved CMAs. And I think I put mine under training. Yeah, right here. So I can actually go back and edit. I save them just so I don't have to redo them again. But if I go into view and edit this, I can go in here. So an answer to your question is this. There is a way that you can adjust the adjustment right here. You could give more money for, like you just said, if you go in here, you could actually adjust. And so maybe if you're trying to adjust it because you want to be able to show your clients that it actually is worth more than what's coming up on here so they don't freak out, this is my suggestion, is I usually tell them in this market right now, you know what, this is where your baseline is, but based on the way that the market has been, I wouldn't suggest we list it for any lower than 5,000 more than this is coming in at, or 10,000 more than this is coming at. If it's a really nice home and they've done all these upgrades and you just know that it's just a fabulous home that is just different than all these others out there, then you could maybe go in and adjust some of these comps. The only thing I worry about is if you start adjusting the comparables and then they get an appraisal that comes in and they start looking at that, they could question, well, you said that, you know, bedrooms were worth $4,000 and they're really only worth $1,000. And so if the appraisal comes in low from what you listed it at and they've got an offer at, they could come back on you on that. So I don't suggest you mess with those. What you could do is explain to them and just say, listen, you know, right now, homes are selling for quite a bit higher than even the market analysis coming in at. But most of the time it's because people are willing to pay more money cash-wise above appraisals. What I would suggest you do is if you're gonna do, go back here. If you're here, this number's coming in at 345.9. One thing I would do is go back to your refined search and change your sold to an active. And take off the number days back. And that's going to tell you, it should tell you if there's any homes out there for sale similar to that home, because that would be your competition. If there was several homes with this criteria that was for sale and you had a number pop up over here in a normal market and it said 10 or 20 homes, and then you got looking at the prices of those homes and they were really close to what the market analysis came in at, then you probably wouldn't want to bump it up much. But if they're quite a bit higher, then, you know, keep it underneath the highest one and just start there, because you can always come down. You just don't want to be so low that, you know, you get offers and then they're like, oh my gosh. But I really do think Dan's saying $5,000 higher pretty much works. You did those red marks on there, Dan? How did you do that? How cool is that? How weird. Okay. So yeah, I would definitely, I wouldn't just bump up numbers.
I was trying to answer your question, Cindy. I was trying to join the chat and I selected the pen and I was just tapping on things. And so that's what happened. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I was just like, I have never seen it do that before. That is so weird. Especially on a live screen. Like, you know what I mean? It's not even a PowerPoint. I'm on a live.
It's ghosts.
Stranger things have happened. So does that kind of answer your question for you? It's just, you know, it's just hard to tell. Like you said, in different areas, homes can be quite a bit higher. You just have to do your research to find out what's active, what's under contract, what's sold, and kind of come up with a number based off of that. And sometimes you can call the agents that have sold them if they'll answer and say, hey, you know, I noticed that your home was listed for this, but it sold for that. Can you tell me why? I know that this home, when I looked at the pictures on KSL that we're talking about, it wasn't updated inside at all.
Oh, really?
So I would be hesitant to tell them that it's going to be much more than what he's asking for on there. He's probably pretty close at what he's asking for. What for sale by owners don't realize is that that price that they're coming up with is actually the price that we would sell it for as realtors. It's not the price they typically will get, because most of the time buyers are going to come in and say, well, you're not paying a commission. So, you know, you're either going to pay my closing costs or, you know, drop the price or whatever. Because we usually do get, you know, between 6 and 8% higher what for sale by owners do. In this market, it's a little bit different right now. So any other questions? Like I said, if you guys want this, you can watch it in the library. It'll be on there in a couple of days, so you can rewatch it if you wanted to get notes off of it. But if you want, just, you know, me to send you a copy of the PDF, so you have a printout, so it has the step-by-step instructions on how to do these CMAs. Just email me and I'll send them over to you.
That works.
Okay. All right.
That's everything?
That's everything. Yeah, I told you. I keep my meetings are limited. People have a lot to do.
I wanted to ask you, just when you did that 3-hour training yesterday, did you guys go full 3 hours straight with no breaks? Is that what you said?
No.
Oh, you took breaks?
And I know it's hard. You know, like we don't get to take like breaks, and we don't get sponsors that come in and stuff. And so typically if you were taking it live, you would already have like a 15-minute break, and then you'd have like a 10-minute break every so often, or a lunch break or whatever. So no, it took me about 2.5 hours. I was done, and I had to drag it out a bit just to get it to 2.5 hours.
Oh, sure.
I was still talking about other things.
You just went straight through then for 2.5?
Yeah, we stopped for a break for a few minutes, and I did tell them. So I give code words throughout the training because they have to send them in to me to get their credits. But I usually will tell them, okay, here's a code word. I'm not going to have another code word for another at least 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So if you got to run to the restroom or get a drink, go. Yeah. It's hard to keep your energy up that long, I'll tell you. It takes a toll on me. By the time I get done with these, I'm like, oh.
I just need a more comfortable like office chair, and I guess now that I've been stuck at home long enough, I should already have one. But I find myself able to sit in this hard chair very long.
Yeah, a lot of people stand.
Yeah.
Stand at their desks and stuff. So is Dan still on there?
Mm-mm.
No, he signed up. Okay, he was asking me about subscription for Zoom. So
You don't have
Thank
to.
you, Cindy.
what's that?
Thank you, Cindy.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope that helps you guys.
Yeah, it does.
Good.
Have a good day.
You too. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sandy. Thank you very much. Bye.
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 See ya.